All they had was the published writings, their memories and instructions received from the master and the ashram itself to remind them of Ramana's presence. The light that had illuminated their lives had apparently vanished, and for a while many thought that they lived in darkness with little hope of recapturing those blissful moments of being in Ramana's actual physical radiance. But for those who understood Ramana best, were actually, and for them to apply the teachings and keep alive the flame, not as though they were dealing with stale, fading memories, but to show that they were capable of practicing what Bhagavan Ramana had spent his life teaching them. For those who truly understood, his physical passing was, in the final analysis, of no consequence. Those who truly understood realized that instead of being cut off, they were now much closer to the divine action. What a lovely way to put it. They were closer to the divine action that was named Ramana. Free of physical constraint, this power we call Ramana has by means we cannot understand become much more freely available in very subtle form. Over the succeeding years, there has been a slow widening of the sphere of influence of this presence. Ramana Maharshi, if you want to see, if you have never heard of him or haven't seen a photo of him, in the main house, if you go into the meditation room, as you look at the mantle, the fireplace, to the left of the fireplace is this beautiful, smiling photograph of Sri Ramana Maharshi. He was a gentle guru, very, very seldom raised his voice. Just the look of that photograph has made thousands upon thousands of people his disciple. So after his passing, thousands of people became his disciple. We met Sri Ramana Maharshi through Gurji. Gurji knew him personally, but we met him through his teachings that Gurji introduced to us. And we all became his disciples. We became disciples of many masters. Disciples mean to learn. The word disciple comes from the root to learn. So we became students of all these great masters, as long as they were the enlightened ones speaking the truth. Now, over the succeeding years, there has been a slow widening of the sphere of influence of this presence. The ashram has opened up after years of hibernation, when it adjusted to the fact that Ramana was no longer there in physical form. In the first 2 decades, 20 years after Ramana's Mahanirvana, the ashram was barely able to sustain itself due to legal assaults by aggrieved, misguided individuals, as well as by lack of funds. For some time, the ashram's very existence was at stake. It was only in the 1970s that the ashram found its feet. Sri Ramana Maharshi passed away, left his body in 1950. It was only in the 1970s that the ashram found its feet and became self-sustaining. But it was not until after 1995 that the ashram managed to overcome its remaining problems, and a new wave of devotees came to seek Ramana's blessings. Today, more people than ever are pouring in to that ashram. If you ever go to India, how many have ever gone to the Ramana ashram in India? See, a few. Is the power lacking there? It's still there. People are fainting with the intensity of Ramana Maharshi's presence. When I say fainting, my knees buckled. I wasn't expecting anything. I have a great guru. I was feeling my guru's presence after he left his body. So when we were in India, I said, I'm going to Ramana Maharshi's ashram. I want to see that. What I wasn't prepared for was to go into that hall where he would sit in darshan, giving darshan, blessings and transference to people. And my legs gave way. I didn't expect it. Just dropped to the floor, and that floor was hard, very hard, marble floor, I think. Dropped to the floor. I expected my knees to be broken. No pain whatsoever. It was just an automatic. And at the end, I had sworn never to prostrate before anybody. I didn't do it with my own guru, because Westerners are funny that way. We don't like to do that. Go on the ground, spread eagle on our stomachs and be a spectacle like that. I was about to leave the room, and it was though someone pushed me from behind. Down I went. I couldn't believe it. What was that? That was him. Because he did that once before with someone who visited this ashram, whom I didn't really like. Some Swami, I didn't like him. So I didn't even want to touch his feet. But he was in Gurji's cottage having tea, coffee. I was called over there for some reason. And I greeted him very cordially, this Swami. I was very polite. We were trained to be polite to everyone. And just before leaving, I just bowed like this to that Swami and felt that pressure on my head, and down I went. So it didn't surprise me that that happened in Sri Ramana ashram as well. Some mysterious force. It just crushes your ego. And you go with that feeling of gratitude. I'm crying now thinking about it. Gratitude for all that's been given us. All the help, the teachings that are now and will be even more relieving us from suffering in the years to come. What is it that draws them here to Ramana ashram and here to Ananda ashram, in spite of the fact that there is no obvious reward for their efforts? If Ramana is no longer with us physically, why do we come to the ashram? You can still hear in the back, Surat? It has gone down at least 4 inches. It's all right. If you can hear me, it's fine. Don, it's true, you notice? Going down. It's all right. Good microphone. So that pulled you to this ashram. Sometimes in the middle of a storm. I was talking to Dharmadev, remembering that one silent retreat began, we had them in the winter in the past, and it was a blizzard, practically a blizzard, with a horrendous weather report. So we said, well, it'll be a small crowd. We walked in the room, I'd say 45 people, 42 had shown up, and the other 3 showed up the next day. What is that draws you here? In spite of your mind and your ego saying, don't do that. You don't even know if you'll get back in time. And you do it. What is it that draws them here? There is no obvious reward for their efforts, meaning when Gurji was an enlightened being, I will ask him. I have repeated pain all the time. I don't have any happiness as others are having. People would ask him. He'd say, don't worry, coming soon. Coming soon. Nobody had the courage to ask when. That felt very good, and so the ones who knew had the patience to wait, and wait happily, because they trusted. But there was no more Guru there in physical form. If Ramana is no longer with us physically, why do we come to the ashram? Oh, we can sit where he sat for many years and imbibe the powerful spiritual energy of the room. But is that all that pulls us to this ashram? There is more, as many will testify, who either remain close to the ashram, or if they're unable to do so, come as often as they can. A question asked by many who come for the first two, for spiritual instruction. The answer they generally receive is that they should go and sit in the old hall. Buildings by themselves cannot answer our doubts, nor provide relief to us in our moments of distress. Appearance belies the reality. To those who have persevered, earnestly persevered, it is very evident in this ashram, a presence, a subtle power fills our hearts and restores our equanimity, our balance, our harmony, transforms our lives. We are open. It has been described in historical times as automatic divine action. Means that something happens in this ashram, and the happening is that presence, is that force of the Guru, that people felt in his presence. In his presence, we felt that shoot into us. If we were tired, the tiredness left in his presence. If we were depressed, depression left us and giddiness took over. Giggling took over. We didn't know what that was. Hafiz knew what it was. He would transmit his own sense of well-being to us. Sometimes we would come and the body was ill, coughing going on, difficulty breathing. And we'd sit in program, we can breathe, we're not coughing. All of a sudden the Guru, he had picked up our cough intentionally, drew it out of us. Next few minutes it was gone from him also. What is that? We didn't even want to believe that. That was too mysterious, that he could take on our mental, emotional problems as well as our physical problems and swallow that poison, which he did. So we began to realize there were mysterious things going on, which Ramana would say was automatic divine action that does not need the physical presence for that to occur. For those who have been and continue to be the recipients of this power, of this grace, they understand, and words are unnecessary. But for those of us who are new, words may perhaps just confuse the subject until such time as they open up and surrender to that presence. Paul Brunton, a very famous writer and disciple of Sri Ramana Maharshi, in his A Search in Secret India, wrote of the impact of Ramana on him when he sat in the old hall, was still in his physical body. Falls upon the little company, the little group that's there. The minutes slowly pass, but I can no more resist the feeling of increasing awe my mind than a bee can resist a flower in all its luscious bloom. The hall is becoming pervaded with a subtle, intangible, and indefinable power. I feel without doubt and without hesitation that the center of this mysterious power is no other than the Maharishi himself. His eyes shine with astonishing brilliance. Strange sensations begin to peering into the inner recesses of my soul. There comes a perceptible change, one I can feel in the telepathic current which plays between us. While my eyes are blinking frequently, his eyes, Ramana's eyes, I become aware that he is definitely linking my own mind with his, what Gurdjieff would call attuning his mind with you, with your mind, or attuning his essence, his frequency with your frequency. That's how these enlightened ones transmit directly their energy, their knowledge, by attuning. Only we have to be close enough. We can't be so far away that it's impossible. We have to meet him, moving towards him, and then we're zapped in that moment. But we have to be empty. If we're not empty of thinking, of preferences, opinions, there's no way he can attune his high frequency to that low frequency we're on. It's like trying to take a radio from Radio Shack and try to tune it to that higher frequency that international programs are picked up by, these higher radios, these transits. We have to be available for that current. He says, I become aware that he is linking my own mind with his. You know, down there, if my stomach is growling, it would pick that up. Thank you very much. That he is definitely linking my own mind with his, that he is provoking my heart. I find a sense of exaltation, a sense of lightness. Time seems to stand still, and my heart is released from its burden of care. I should remind people that Ramana Maharshi 100 words a day. His blessings came through silence, mainly. The essential point is that today, always, at any time, and at any place. The epiphanies occur more often than not at the ashram, because its compelling ambience can lead us immediately into the valley. How sweet it is not to have to be concerned about others, just to be concerned with your own peace that you need so desperately if you want to be of help to people you love. Just to get the rest that the body craves, that the mind yearns for. You have to be in silence. That's not so important. They're lovely, that's wonderful. But when you are in need, when you're coming to a silent retreat, don't miss, don't waste. There's still time, it's only half over. If you haven't been diving deep into yourself, if you haven't been, start now, tonight. Come back another time and meet our wonderful staff. Talk to them. But don't waste this one opportunity this year for you to take care of yourself and to make yourself available to the healing that is in this ashram, to the presence of the Guru. He's here. He told us. As Ramana Maharshi said, we'll say at the end of this article. And he's particularly in this ashram. Why? Because we are drawing him back. We read his books, we hear his tapes. The lyrics were very simple. She says, I love this ashram. I love this Guru. I love everyone here. I can hear it. But the feelings, I'm sure she was in tears writing this. She's feeling something. But I never saw this young woman mingling with anybody. She walked alone. She sat alone. She meditates alone, eats alone. And many of you, most of you, are doing it. I'm just reminding the few who relaxed a little too much and got caught by Karmananda's wonderful beingness and couldn't stop yourself from talking to him, or Karana. The essential point is that this grace is available to us even today, always, at any time, at any place, but more, most of us, the epiphanies occur more at this ashram, Ramana ashram or this ashram, because its compelling environment, ambience, can lead us immediately into the valley of silence. This grace is a pure light which removes the barriers of ignorance that we have set to defend our small, private worlds of desire. What did Ramana say? Ramana Maharshi could have been coming from our Guru's teachings. Divine grace is essential for realization. It leads on to God realization. But such grace is given only to him or her who is a true devotee or a yogin, who has striven hard and ceaselessly on the path towards freedom. The word Gurji gave was continue to persevere, never losing faith, not in the Guru. If you have faith in the Guru, it makes it easy. That can happen. Guru means that ego is crushed. Our saying, well, I believe in my own ability to do this. It'll take longer. You'll get there. It'll take longer, much longer. But if you feel that connection, if you feel instant trust when you listen to these teachings, I'm sure that's when I decided I'll be on Facebook so I can get these messages from Ramana Maharshi. The ashram's on Facebook, I'm on Facebook, Krishna Devi's on Facebook. Because what we do is just post about the ashram. I post quotes. From this program will be quotes on Facebook. So become a friend of either the ashram or my friend for those quotes. That's all we do. Krishna does other things. That's all I do, is post quotes and announcements of our programs in the city. Last two paragraphs. We focus and identify Ramana as the source of this abundant grace that we feel at his ashram, this light which guides and reassures us. Bhagavan did not belong to any lineage, nor did he personally subscribe to one. You go to his ashram, nobody was left in charge. No successor there. He has many successors. He broadcasts through many people. He doesn't need to appoint one radio. Our Guruji has many radios. I'm a radio. I'm a nice radio. I keep the wires tuned. I keep my body in good health so I can project the program. But I'm just a radio. When Bharati chants, Karana chants, other teachers come transmitting. We learn from him. Just a radio. There was a play on Broadway called I Am a Camera with Julie Harris. Same feeling. I am a radio. I just transmit. And I enjoy the program as much as you do. I'm one radio who enjoys its own program. I listen, I learn, just as you do. But Bhagavan did not belong as Guruji, did not appoint a successor. Bhagavan did not belong to any lineage. He didn't come down from other gurus, nor did he personally subscribe to one. He was unique, and even in the evaluation of the great masters of his lifetime, he stood alone. His teaching was often in silence, or else it epitomized the simplicity of absolute truth. Some people have occasionally sought to interpret Bhagavan's words. And while there's nothing wrong in helping others to understand this non-dualism, Advaita, there is a risk. There's a risk of their seeking to insert themselves, these teachers, in some sort of lineage, something Bhagavan himself did not advocate. To truly understand what Bhagavan meant, what he tried in so many ways to teach us throughout his physical lifetime, one has to only remember and try to understand what were among his final words. When someone cried to him not to leave us, for what were we to do without him? This is when he was his body was ill with cancer, and he was obviously failing. His devotees were stricken with grief, and someone actually cried out to him not to leave us, for what were we to do without him? His reply encapsulated his entire teaching. This crucial reply resonates powerfully throughout our entire lives. He said, "You pay too much attention to the body. I am not leaving. Where would I go?" For those with the ears to hear the sweet sound of his gracious silence, there's no more to ask. This is from The Mountain Path, the editorial of a man. The editor is one who has never met Sri Ramana Maharshi. He's met him. He hasn't met him physically. How many of you have never met Sri Brahmananda? Raise your hand. Oh, how many of you are beginning to feel you know him and feel him? Please raise your hands. Oh, that means we're all doing our job. The staff is doing our job. For those who are not yet experiencing that, it means you're not yet available to it. There's still tonight, the concert. There's still tomorrow morning when I'll answer all these questions. I'll try to. I haven't read them all, but there's a bunch of them in there. If you want to add, just add. I'll answer those, and I'll be taking a reading from Sri Nisargadatta's I Am That. Powerful reading as part of the morning program. And if it's raining and we don't want to go on the walk, some of you will extend that program a little bit, because it's really the final program with those readings and the questions has always turned out to be the most important, the most significant. Before I call Deepak and Akhil to come and present what Deepak himself is telling me is a wonderful concert. He loves this concert coming up. Brand new songs, and he's feeling exuberant today, and I'm sure Akhil will match that exuberance. But I did want to say something I haven't said yet, and that is, not only is the morning program tomorrow an essential program of the retreat, because it will summarize what's been happening to us, myself included. The questions will bring that out, and the responses. But Gurji himself designed the I Am dance. He said it was not a good idea, after we've churned up all this emotion in the silence, when we become alive, when we become full of passion, full of passion, full of emotion, that's what silence will do, because you forgot there is that part of you that loves aloneness, that loves being carefree. As much as we love our attachments, we love our peace of mind more. We love being in that state of creativity where we're bursting with love, bursting with poetry and music and compassion. We love. What happened to it? Oh, we were doling it out here and here and here. No time to be aware of who we really are, what we really are. So if any of you are thinking of ducking out before the I Am dance because it doesn't seem that's your thing, don't do that. Because if you go home with all of that from past experience, this is about the 20th or 20, somewhere between 20 and 25 retreats. Many years we've been giving these retreats, sometimes twice a year. From past experience, we have heard from people who say, I crashed. You know what that means? I crashed, or I had the most dreadful silent retreat hangover. I said, well, you didn't stay for the I Am dance. You went home without that release. And by the way, this is not Yanni I'm playing, or Chopin I'm playing, or Ravi Shankar I'm playing. No, you'll be surprised what you'll be hearing tomorrow. It is country, it is fado, it is opera. It's everything that brings out feelings. So don't, unless it's absolutely necessary, do not leave without experiencing this I Am dance that Gurji created to help us release what has been accumulating this weekend. You don't dance with anyone. This is a dance with you. And it's not about dance steps. It's about your inner dance, letting that come out. If you feel you want to put steps to that, feel free. If you just want to sway to the Gypsy Kings, oh, just sway. But others, release with the Gypsy Kings. It doesn't matter whether you like all the music, some of the music, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're released. If you cannot do that, cannot stay, and I hope you can, because it's much more wonderful than you can possibly imagine. It's the high point of the retreat. But if you cannot, then go home. This is what I suggest so you don't crash and you don't have... Are you able to stay, Joanne? Okay. Don't want you going back to Canada and crashing. It's very bad. But if you can't stay, then before you go to sleep, put on some music that you like, that opens you up, and dance to it. Move to it. Let that release happen. Do not go to bed without doing that. You have to move with that. You have to free up your body. Okay. I have a feeling you're full of questions, but no time. Even people who came for the evening, my friend Jessie and Mercedes may have questions, but next Saturday you come and ask the questions. All right, close your eyes just for, I'm only 5 minutes late. Close your eyes just for a moment, not even 5 minutes late. Take a very deep breath. And exhale, releasing all that you've heard and all the memories clogging that light, that power, that energy. And in this effortless witnessing state, see if you can contact that pulsation in your body that Gurji said represents the divine life, the godliness within. The sound or the tingling sensation. Sometimes the cells themselves dance in the excitement of remembering. In the scriptures it is said, "O foolish one, remember, remember, remember." 3 times we're ordered to remember our true life, which is the life of consciousness, effortless awareness. Find it now. Be it now. If Krishna Devi is here, would you lead us in our traditional prayer? If Krishna Devi is not here, wait a moment, Karuna, and you lead it.